Welcome back. Okay, last video we created these values in our main script, so if that's not open for you, it's under service script. Double click on it here and we'll open it up. Leader stats, we have a log count that will display on the screen showing how many logs the player has collected, and down here we have a hidden folder called player vars that will tell us whether the player, or keeping track of whether the player has a log or does not have a log. Alright, so now we need to, in this video, we're going to learn how to change those values. So back in our log script, so find your log part in the workspace up here and open it up if you haven't already. Look down through our code and we will find here that we have already got our leader stats folder, but the other folder that we need will be our player vars. So let's add that variable in here, and vars, so p vars, right? And once again we are looking in the player and we will use wait for child for folders. We always wait for folders, and player vars. Now it's very important that you get this spelling in here exactly correct. So if you're not sure, come to your main script and actually just copy what is inside of your player vars or whatever the thing is, Command or Control C, and come back in here and then paste it inside of these quotes, because if this is wrong or there's a space in here, it's not going to work. Okay, so that's important. So now we've got our two folders that we are working with. We want to get access to the two values inside that we want to change. So underneath here, the first one will be the log count. So player log count equals, and in this case we want to look in the player stats folder. So we say player stats, and then we want to find first child. Okay, and remember, if you can't remember, which sometimes you would get it wrong, it's in here, player log count, so we can just highlight what's inside the quotes, copy it, bring it across here and paste it in. Okay, log count, that's the first one. Now the other one we're going to look at is in the player vars folder, which is our boolean value. So let's make another variable here, player has log, equals, remember we're looking in the player vars folder this time, so vars a colon and then find first child. That is called, okay, remember player vars has log, so I'll just copy that there, come back into here and paste it in. So you by all means type it in, but if you copy and paste across like that, you know, you're not going to get it wrong. So now we have access to those values. We want to change them in some way when the player picks up the log. So what we want to do is increase our player log count for a start. All right, but okay, we want to make use of this, because if the player already has a log, we don't want them to be able to pick up another one. Okay, so let's make use of that first with a conditional statement. So if player has log and we add dot value, all right, equals false, then do whatever's in here. So if it's false, it means, okay, well the player does not have a log, so we're going to allow them to pick one up. Now you can write it this way, and remember you need to use this dot value in here, because if you look in the main script, this is the thing we're changing, the value of this variable. Okay, so if it's false, then we can change it immediately to true, because the code is going to run. Okay, so player has log dot value equals true, and that will change that in our code. Next, to give them a log, okay, to show them that they've got a log, we want to increase this count here. So the way we do that is we say player log count dot value equals whatever that value is. So we type it again, plus 1. All right, so it always grab the value first and then add 1 to it in this manner. And once they have done that, obviously because they're picking up this, we can move our log transparency into here, which will make it disappear. Okay, and then after 3 seconds it will change back to reappear again. Okay, now if they've already got a log, all right, which we may just put this entire code, I think, inside here, because this only really needs to run if it disappears in the first place. So we'll put all of this inside of here. All right, and straighten our code up a little bit. So now if we have a look at this, should the player run over the log and it's not equal to false, all right, which you can either leave it equal to false if that's easier to read. You can also write it like this, okay, you don't have to, not. So that is the opposite of whatever this is. All right, so if not player has log value, so that would mean if it's not true, okay, then run the code. Now if that's a little bit hard for you to understand, by all means leave it the other way. So I'll leave it like this for now, but using not is fine. Okay, and we can now give this a test, because if they run over it and this is indeed true, it'll run through and get all these things here, but nothing will happen. Okay, and DB also, which is a problem. We want to set DB immediately back to true. That's right. So we'll add it in here as well. All right. So if they run over it, we want to set it immediately back to true so that it can run again for another player that runs over it. All right. Let's try that and see how it works. We might also, well, actually we'll, okay, we'll put in an else statement here. So that way we can keep track of what's going on. We want to set this back to true, and we'll also put in a print statement to the player saying, because we've got the player name in here, we can use player.name. Actually, we didn't use player, we used PL. Player.name. Been a bit clunky here, aren't I? Sorry about that. Okay. You already, whoops, time for a coffee. You already have a log. Okay, so I'll just leave that there for a minute because I was jiggering around making mistakes. Yours should look something like this. All right, let's save it and give it a run and see what happens. So what we expect to happen, and this is a good way to think, is, well, I expect to run over this log, I expect this to increase, and then I shouldn't be able to pick up another log. So there it is, it's increased to 1. All right, now if I run over this, it's saying you already have a log. You already have a log, over and over and over again. Okay, because there's no DB to stop that happening in there. But it doesn't let me pick up any more logs either, so that's fine if it's just running that print message there and doesn't let me pick up any more. Alright, and if you want to check those values in here, you can always open this up and into your character in the player vars. There is the has log, and you'll see that it's checked now, so that it's true. In the next video, we're going to set up the fire pit model, just very basically to start with, so that we can get rid of the log now onto the fire pit and allow the player to increase their count and continue with the game. So I'll see you in the next video.